I'm Susie Landolfi, and welcome to Be Crazy Well. Now, why would a therapist say that? Because we all have mental health struggles, even therapists. The good news is we have so much more information about how we can be crazy well. On my podcast, we don't focus on what's wrong with us. We want to know what happened to us. We're going to explore how trauma affected us, both negatively and positively. That's right. I said positively. It's called post-traumatic growth, and it's a real thing. Be Crazy Well will share mental health wellness practices, the newest mental health research, and most importantly, how we all get to create the person we deserve to be and the life we deserve to live. So join the mental health evolution and be crazy well. So I'm here with Loren Weeks. This is a man that I met through MVP. Welcome, everybody. I should tell Loren, I don't even know if Loren knows the name of my podcast. And Loren, you will not be surprised. It's called Be Crazy Well. Right? Because we're going to be crazy. And we use crazy sometimes in such a wonderful way. And then we use it in such, oh, he's so crazy. It's like, yeah, but crazy is disruptors. Disruptors are crazy. Like every great change that's been made in the world has usually been made by a disruptor that's a bit crazy. Just be crazy well. Do it based on principle. So that's the name of the podcast. And it's sponsored by a veteran service organization that does a lot of podcasts called Coming Home Well. And they make sure that the podcasts offer resources. And they came to me and asked if I would do this. And I said, of course, as long as I can be crazy well. So they said, no problem, no problem.
Okay.
So I met Loren at MVP, which is Merging Vets and Players, which many of you who listen to this podcast know about it already because I talk so much about it. Loren, I want you to introduce to everybody who you are, a little bit of your background, and this is the second installment of a series on the VA and what it is that we're noticing of sort of issues and problems and solutions. I'm all about what it is the men and women that go to the VA have the best solutions. And we need to keep talking to them about it and asking, and is there any hope to be able to create a wellness program that truly is more effective on so many levels? Maybe there isn't, but I don't know that yet. Okay? So Loren, tell us all about you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Loren Weeks. I am, as I like to say, I'm nobody. So, and which in the world that I come from is a good thing, because in combat you don't want to be known. So I served 34 years, 33 years, 7 months in the Army. I started off as a private, enlisted in 1983, and I retired in November of 2016 at Colonel, and served 3 tours in Afghanistan, and I was in the invasion of Panama. So I spread all over the place. I spread from, I go from the jungles of Panama all the way through. I've been in the Guard, I've been in the Reserve, I've been on active duty. So I've seen all kinds of different services, all kinds of different experience. I've lived in California, was in Susie's backyard.
That's right.
And I currently live in Delaware. The thing that Susie and I have in common, we both have horses.
Yes, we do.
So we're common. I currently live here with my husband in Rehoboth, just outside of Rehoboth, Delaware. 7 horses and a donkey named Eeyore.
So, I have a donkey named Jed.
And Eeyore is, we've got to work on getting him a muzzle because he just keeps on trying to get everybody's food. So pretty much my experience, I have actually visited and I have actually been treated by the VA in Stanford at West LA. I've been treated by the VA in Wilmington, in Philadelphia, and in which one was the most recent one was in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So I'm at five VAs, and so I've seen a lot of different VA services. So
And your husband too, he's right. So you've been a bit of a partner caregiver type person in the VA as well. So as a patient and as a caregiver.
correct. And that was been my husband has had a little bit different situation with his, and it's been a little more traumatic with his. And so to me, it's a little more raw with his situation. So the VA is very, as you say, very monolithic in that sense. And each regional aspect of the VA it has its own system, but trying to coordinate as an individual between the systems is somewhat difficult.
So meaning that when you went to these 5 different places, the systems were somewhat different. They were different levels or way that, so they were even using maybe different programs. Certainly the buildings were different. Certainly the culture was different. I mean,
Correct.
right? So culture is everything. You have to put everything in context. So as much as a large monolithic organization would like to think they're standardized, it's far from it usually.
Correct. They're very different. And so when you go in, even if you, for example, I needed to use the emergency room in Wilkes-Barre, I had to go to the actual enrollment, even though I'm 100% disabled veteran. I had to actually go in to actually get validated before I could even go to the emergency room.
I can't think of anything more hurtful emotionally. As a therapist, wait a minute. You have to get validated after 34 years? Right?
So,
I mean, just hearing that makes me go, whoa, wait a minute. Like, wait a minute.
so because there's the systems they see the enrollment per hospital doesn't see, only that section of each hospital understands that I'm 100%. So I'm 100% for the VA across the board. But it doesn't mean that I walk into that emergency room and they can scan the card and it says I'm 100%. I have to go in and I have to enroll in Wilkes-Barre system, and they have to be able to allow me to be 100% to utilize their system.
Right.
So their system has to then view me as eligible for services. So it's archaic.
Right. Let me let my dog out. Hold that dog.
Sure.
It is archaic. Dogs don't understand podcasts. You can kind of tell a kid, but dogs don't understand. It's like, no, it's time. So I think what you said was archaic. Plus the fact what it does is you can't then know that this is what's going to happen every time I walk into a VA. It's going to be different. So do you have to bring different paperwork? You don't know exactly which way to go. So already you're navigating something that is different in every place. And if it's an emergency, it must be even more. I'm sort of thinking it might be more anxiety provoking because, like, when I go to a hospital and it says emergency room, I know exactly I'm going in that door. This is what is going to happen. Now, again, it can be different and look different, but for the most part, I'm pretty clear. It sounds to me like sometimes you can go and get something scanned and so that you're 100%, and sometimes you can't.
And on top of it, the doctor did not have access to my medical records.
Oh, okay. So, hold on before you go any further.
On top of it, for example, my pill listing, the listing of all of my medications, he did not have access to be able to even see any of that. So if I'm in an accident, if I'm traveling across the country, and we have many MVP members, Angela Peacock, for example, she's going by RV. If she sees it, if she's traveling and she goes to a VA hospital in Seattle, and that's not her home hospital, and she gets sick, they're not going to be able to pull up her medical records because it's not her home hospital unless it's not they need to be able to build a system that they can actually have the medical records that you can actually, like, this is my medical record, this is my card, and the doctor could be able to actually treat. So what I have to do now is, for example, I carry with me my listing of all of my all my prescriptions. I have to. I sorry. I
There it is.
carry
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
I carry with them whenever I go, because if I have to stop somewhere, I carry that with me so the doctor can, if I have to go to a VA somewhere, because we were going to Maine and we stopped at that place because I got sick, and then there it was.
So let me ask you this. You've been in the military for 34 years. You've been in combat and on missions. If the military had the same system at the VA, would we ever win a conflict?
No.
Right, and I'm not even military, and I'm sitting here going, no, wait a minute. You were able to pull up information you needed for that mission, for that conflict. You were able to get a lot of quick, easy information, and yet the VA is running on not the same kind of urgency. That's an urgency. It needs to happen. It's like a have to. We just be able to put your name in and up comes everything about you. Because they can do that in other places in the military, can't they?
Yeah, they can. And we have identification cards with CAC cards that have information on it, and they can put information in there, and they can, there's all kinds of systems in place, but they have failed to invest in the systems for the VA for years. They have really systematically underfunded the VA, and everything with the VA is fits and starts.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So here's something I'm going to say that's might piss some people off, and that's okay. I'm a disruptor. To win a mission, to be active duty and in a mission. So just by the name veteran, doesn't say, active duty affairs. It says veteran affairs. It says, the veteran administration, which denotes to me that it's after the fact, like you're out or you're now not active duty. Is it because it's not as important as a mission, an active mission, that you are more important, and I hope I'm wrong, you're more important while you are active duty, and the systems are more important, and winning the mission is more important than taking care of you after the mission?
I think that the way it is, I think what's happening is that the way the VA is established is that the VA was built for a certain clientele that there was certain people that they were built for.
Okay.
And now that they didn't expect to have a 21-year war. I honestly don't think that they expected to have a 21-year war.
And the effects of it, the emotional effects of that, not just the physical, but the emotional effects.
And there's going to be, and so there's, with the VA, if you really look at who they do serve, and they're serving now. What's happening now is you're finding most of the clientele are a lot of I would have to say younger veterans, and then what you're getting is a lot of the older Vietnam veterans. You're getting homeless veterans, and then it's kind of like different waves as they're coming through. And the facilities and the care, they're not really set for that yet.
So are they trying to do too much? So here's what I'm hearing. When I go to the West LA VA, I am looking at recovery, substance abuse. I'm looking at a hospital. I'm looking at a homeless village. I'm looking at trying to do everything, as opposed to, wouldn't that be easier if it was more compartmentalized, where if I go to a hospital, I'm also not going to I'm not getting served at a hospital where there are needs for people who do not have a home. Like that's not, that's not happening. But the VA looks like it's trying to do everything all the time under one roof, literally under one roof.
And when you go to, there's places like in Wisconsin, out near Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, there's a VA hospital. There's an actual place out in Toma, Wisconsin. It's an actual campus. It looks like a college campus. It's a VA hospital. And it looks like it's the hospital, but it's also the actual, it has the retirement home with it's the old model VA. You have that same, so what you have is you have a lot of the old veterans homes with the hospitals. Yes. So when they built them, so what you have is you have different models of veterans VAs. So you have VA hospitals, then you have VA homes, then you have the C box, so they've gone through these various iterations where they've tried different things, but I don't think they're fully nested.
Yeah.
Does that
makes sense. That makes sense. So here's a question for a solution. I lived in Australia. After I had my baby there in a hospital, I went back to my little community, my little town, and every single little town had a baby wellness clinic. I'm talking 49 years ago.
I went to Australia. I went to Australia on mid-tour leave, and Australia was interesting because with their cities, because of their population is all along the coast.
Right.
Right. And they can run socialized medicine in the way because of their population densely located along the coastlines. And they do have a very good socialized medicine process, the way they run it, the way they layer it.
Yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah, but as you get into the interior, because we went to Darwin, we went not up toward Darwin, but up towards where was it? The Battle of the Coral Sea, up towards
Brisbane, up in that.
Brisbane. It gets kind of dicey as you go into the interior.
Well, it does,
because the less population,
right?
The clinics become a little less.
They do, and it's also airplane. I mean, I was so far out there. I had a girlfriend who flew in a plane, a nurse who went from sheep station to sheep station. What I was impressed with, though, was these wellness baby clinics were everywhere. It was small. It was for so many people, meaning it was, and they were all like a little spider's web. They were all over the place. And you walked in and they're all on the same system. So what I'm talking about is something like you just talked about, that big campus that has to do thousands of people versus breaking down into small little units. I mean, I'm sort of thinking of the military model. Like, you guys know how to do, I don't even know the right language, but it's platoons and units and all of that, right down to the smallest grouping of men and women that are working together and going out on a mission. And you know this. And so you start with the small and get to the big. What the VA does, it seems it starts with the big and we never get to the small, or the smaller, more intimate way of, dealing with each other. And that's what's happening with medicine here. UCLA has these tiny little walk-in clinics. They're all connected through UCLA. And my card, I can go into any of them. And all my stuff comes up. And they're everywhere now. I mean, they're within 5 miles of each other. These little wellness clinics, all under a huge monolithic UCLA medical system. And I'm thinking, why are we not doing that with the VA? And am I all wrong? Because I am a civilian. And that was my second question. Is the VA run by too many civilians and not enough military? Because they irritate me too, and I'm very clear about that.
Well, the problem for, like, whether it's military, whether it's civilian, is immaterial. From, like I can give up my rank, and me. I mean, I'm not really, I don't pole vault over that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the problem is the fact that it's like they're having a hard time maintaining vendors and physicians in like where, like, the C box, and like for example, okay, so the tumor issue or whatever I've got in my throat, right? Okay, so when I went into Wilkes-Barre, right, they found it. They did the CAT scan. They did with contrast. The CAT scan. They got this. They gave me the CD, but they didn't have an ear, nose, and throat specialist on, because they had to do it on the economy. Okay. Right. The emergency room doctor at the VA hospital says, well, we don't have an ear, nose, and throat specialist. So I'm going to give you the CD. I have the notes. He wrote it up in the emergency room notes, gave all this to me. It says, go back to your CBOC doctor. And then here's everything, and get a consult for your, to get this done. You need to have this seen right away.
Oh,
so
right away. That's the key words right now. Keep going.
So I go back, not a problem. My husband takes all the paperwork and with the message back to my doctor. Dr. Tinney she's awesome. I love her. She's a great doctor, and get the message back to her. And the nurses, next thing you know, it gets like, it hits like this wall of, foam, where it just gets muted because, well, there's no reading on this CD. We can't read it because the nurses can't see it, because, there's no reading from the ear, nose, and throat. Well, we told you there was no reading because there was no ear, nose, and throat at Wilkes-Barre VA. Well, Dr. Tinney can, of course, she has a brain, so she pops it in there, looks at it, and goes, oh yeah, it's pretty damn big. And here's the notes from the ER doctor saying, yeah, it's pretty damn big. We need to get a consult on this pretty quick. So she calls me back a few days later and says, well, I'm going to put an emergency consult in. I still haven't heard back from the VA whether we're going to get a consult on this, but I did contact her back to see where we are. But the point of the matter is,
and meanwhile, the tumor's growing, or it's not supposed to be there at the very least, where they're okay. So I think, keep going.
So my point in all this is, there's no transportability. I shouldn't be walking around with a CD. It should have been taken in a system and immediately emailed over to my primary care. We live in an age of automation. We live in a digital age when, when we have adversaries that can steal everything we own digitally. Okay. Yet I'm running around with a CD like somebody that needs to return something to Redbox. What the hell is that about?
Some of this staff at another VA is going to go, what is this? I've never seen one of these before, because they're going to be 25 years old and go, what is that thing? A CD, right? They don't even know what it is, never mind. You just brought up something so important too. We now have the capability of designing and executing a mission completely digitally. We don't even need boots on the ground. From my understanding, we just did this with some guy, we all know. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was done surgically, pardon the pun that we're actually using the word surgical, with no collateral damage, and executed completely digitally. Meaning Everything was run through a system without someone carrying something, or right, it was done miles and miles away. And this is my rub. My rub is that was important, so the highest level of digital effectiveness is used. And then when you go down the ladder to the VA or over to the VA, whatever it is, it's not. And I can't help but think that there just isn't this dedication, commitment to the care after the fact. I just feel it. I just see it. I mean, I've got to call out what I see. And trust me, I'm not always happy with my peer group. You talked about keeping doctors. Do you know how many times I hear when I'm talking to an MVP member, oh, well, they just changed primaries on me again after 3 months, after 2 months. Haven't been able to reach my primary because many primary doctors have way too many patients to deal with. So there is a lot that keeps saying to wonderful men and women like yourself, 34 years, that it's not really a priority. And that bothers me, because if it's not a priority, you're not going to put the systems in place you're talking about. UCLA, it's a priority, or they won't get donations. They won't be able to get funded. They won't get their money back from the insurance company.
And the sad part for where we are here in Delaware, okay, the insurance that because I've got now TRICARE for life, okay, because retire,
right,
and VA, they have something called concierge service for the insurance. So now if I find a doctor that will take TRICARE for life, right, TRICARE,
outside the VA system then, right,
outside the VA system,
right,
I can get a doctor, but now I have to pay $2,500 to be able to ensure that I can get a doctor's appointment.
right.
So they want you to pay so that you can make sure that you can get guaranteed service. So they want you to start paying for guaranteed service. It's called the concierge service.
Right, right.
So it's like, I have insurance, I pay, but you want me to pay you so that I can make sure that I can get an appointment.
Yeah. We don't have much time left, and here's what we're going to do, though. We're going to talk again in a couple of weeks. We're going to follow you, if with your permission, on this journey with your neck. Is that okay?
My chicken neck.
Your chicken neck. Oh my, well, look at me, like my age, like I've got chicken, turkey, I got the whole friggin' flock on my neck. So if we can, we now know where you're at with, getting you've already gone to Wilkes-Barre, you've got the CD and the paperwork, we've seen it, and now we're going to follow you to see how this goes, and if that's okay with you. So I'll check in with you every couple of weeks, and you can continue this story of getting in. And we're just talking medical care. I'm going to be talking to a therapist who works in Missouri at one of the VAs, and we're going to talk about the mental health care as well. So one of the solutions we came up with today is this idea of breaking up these big monolithic, trying to do everything on one campus in one way, and breaking it down into small, exactly what the medical community, the civilian medical community, is starting to do. Is that these urgent cares, like, come in, like we use it all the time, and I got my card and everything's quick and easy, and I'm not in this big, I don't even have to go to the big hospital unless it's something serious. Like, I can go and get most of what I need done at a smaller satellite. It's the idea of a satellite. And you guys have that idea, because I learned about FOBs. I learned about what you guys can do and what you can set up quickly. Like, you guys go in and set up cities like in a nanosecond. So this is confusing to me, and I think you said it very well. It's an old system that was created for a different population of veteran. And the need was different. So the focus was different. And it has been slow to change over to what's needed now. And that's why I was hoping, the younger more, and it's hard. It's hard to change a big monolithic system. There has to be a real dedication to this. I can't thank you enough. I just adore you. I can't wait to get out there and see your horses and hang out with your donkey.
Yeah, you got to come out, and
I do.
I'll give you a real quick shout out, real quick, so you can look at the. This is the view from the back window.
Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. I love California in many ways, and I miss the East Coast. I'm an East Coaster. Like, I'm Boston hardcore. Like, I miss
Yeah,
right? So here we
this is
go. Everybody, you're getting a real treat. Look at this.
yeah. So there's the donkey,
Yep.
and that's my world.
Oh, bless you. Talk about good mental health. You're looking at the best therapist right now. I have a coffee mug says the best therapists have 4 legs.
Yes, they do.
Right?
Yeah.
They do. So, Loren, bless you. I'll see you in the Zooms of MVP. For everybody, I do constantly talk about MVP on here. Just go to the website, www.vetsandplayers.org. And Loren, I have this wonderful theme song that was given to me by a friend named Calvin Love. He writes the most wonderful positive music, and it's called Be Your Best Self. So I always tell people to go look him up, go look up Calvin Love, and you'll be a little surprised about who he is and who he's all connected to and his family. And he's just been wonderful, and he gave me that song so that we could do this. Bless you. And we're going to keep track of you. Like, we're going to keep track of you better than the VA. That's what we're doing. And you don't have to bring any papers. You just bring you. All right?
All right.
Have a good weekend with those horses.
Thank you. You too. You take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.